it started with, God, it's so crazy to say it started now because they're all so connected, right? But there seemed to be like that 7/7 to probably like a couple of days ago.
Yeah, it felt a little bit before then. I guess I had a purge before then, like a massive lead up to it, like this big 18-hour purge whilst doing halfway. I did a podcast and I was like, I was so grateful. Like the podcast was only like 8 minutes long, and then I was on the toilet again, just completely. So I was like, "Whoa, that was really short." And then I was like, "Okay, universe is aligning. It's meant to be short because your ass is on the toilet." Like, thank you very much. I'm out of here.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I purged like crazy last night.
Did you?
Yeah, my sheets. Well, I told Morgan during the day. I said, "I'm purging. I can feel it." I don't even know why I knew that, but I woke up like 3 times, and I only slept like a total of maybe 4.5 hours. But every time I woke up, my entire bed, the sheets were just soaked. And I was like, whoa. I don't remember anything from dream state, but obviously there's a lot of clearing.
Well, both you and Morgan were in my dream last night.
Really?
And there were bridges and there was tunnels and it was all this green, and we were going through this tunnel to get through the land. And I'll tell like the dreams that have been coming through probably over the last, just more and more clear over the last 6 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Exciting. But so well, they're expanding, right? But everything is. That's what's crazy.
Do you find as well with the dreams, like I'll come out of them, I'll process, and then I'll go, cool, take me back. And I go into the exact dream and I'm like going through another layer in dream state. And I had a dream where I was going back to the same dream 5 nights in a row. And I was like, give me the next piece. And they were just like, I found these pegs in the earth. And I was like, what the hell? What are these pegs? And they were like, just pick them up. So I was putting them in this big bag and carrying this army bag around for like 2 dreams. And then the 3rd dream, they were like, right, they're the pegs for the end of jump leads. You got to give them to people. And they were copper. And it was to do with, and then it came in, it was like creating again this other, to assist people with the leap in from the 3 to 4, to create this other grid matrix beyond, outside, around the earth. And it was like we all have these pegs like jump leads for a car to jumpstart the earth.
Yeah, it definitely feels like there's some circuitry coming online, and then I haven't had the same dream 5 days in a row. I haven't really had a lot of lucid dream information I can remember in the last 7 to 10 days, but I can feel it. And you know what you said about like going back to the dream and plugging back in, I have experienced in the last 10 days like an expanding ability to go into whatever consciousness or energy that I want to feel, right? And when you, before we started the show, and you were telling me about last week, that's how it was for me. I somehow, in a very self-guided kind of effortless way, I was taken to all of these, I'd say 200 plus different types of energies and consciousnesses, experiences, traumas, revolting, full of light, and everything in between. But the big standout was that I had the ability to go into whatever it was, right? So when you said that about being able to go back to the same dream, that I can kind of feel like that's kind of the same thing I was experiencing.
Yeah. It feels like the subconscious cache, like, is that what you call it? Like what you put in a computer, the cache that stores all the information. It's like that's been clearing. Like I had it with ex-boyfriends and it was just like, next. And I was like there with them as if like singing across the table with them, but we were communicating telepathically. And then I was waking up giggling, like laughing to myself. And I was like, I just want to check my phone to see if the messages are on there. And they were like, no, go back to the next one. And I went through about 9 people. It was insane. And it felt like it was clearing old cache memory, that whole shadow stuff on a real subconscious level.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of like, we've talked about for a long, long time, to the best of our awareness.
Yep.
What is oneness? What does that look like? What does it feel like? There's something very, very personal and very human about what's happening as that's occurring. And part of it is the actual experience with no BS and not just talking about it, where you actually experience these veils removed in these really fractal points of the whole, like an ex or a mother or an acquaintance, whatever. You're actually reaching these points of you're looking at yourself. And for me, it's been when I kind of tapped into that, and it's a person. I know it sounds weird, but become that person. Like in that instant, I can see everything from, well, not everything, but I can see something I've never seen before because it's never happened before. Yet it's accessible. And somehow or another, it brings me to that point you're talking about, where you're just like sitting across from each other and it's telepathic and all that.
It's like that feeling of being able to take your spirit body and step into another person's spirit body. I know that sounds really weird. Mm-hmm. I've had days of like experiencing with what I can understand from my understanding in this now is a Palladian being, or whatever you want to call it, and our bodies are merging for days, sometimes weeks, and I'm walking around in this. I guess I'm experiencing what we're remembering, where I feel things are going to as well, where we're going to, because I've often asked this question, why do I connect with so many people that are not in my locality, not in my physicality in this moment here now? And I'm like, okay, just trust it. And I'm like, ooh, this is where we're heading more, where we're able to then step into someone else's energetic field, and we have this beautiful synchronistic exchange, and our DNA is upgrading from another.
Yeah, and it's code exchange. Yeah, the merging you're talking, and it's like everything else constructed by what's becoming a more responsible, conscious co-creator. I mean, it's not it's the inside. It's happening from here. I'm the initiator. And that's pretty exciting. I mean, in terms of like what we can do, and what you were talking about with these, there's a lot of things that are happening. The motions of people, let's just put it that way, the moves that they're making. You hear a lot about people moving locations. I mean, we just come across like 8 or 9 different scenarios just in the last 3 or 4 days of people we know, women that are doing stuff. What I'm trying to say is there's some physical motions that are taking place. And if you talk to people, a lot of people say, I know I'm going somewhere, kind of thing. These physical motions don't make any sense from where we're coming from. They're actually energetic imprints. And it's a really good point about what you bring up in terms of, we all connect mostly with people all over the world. Right. And if you think about that, that's kind of goes against space. Right. Mm-hmm. Because there's definitely something occurring. Anyone that looks over the last few years, just in the way we've interacted on the net, there's more and more of a true oneness, an experience of oneness. I mean, you really feel stuff, people all over. So it would make sense that the next step, that was like the first layer. And the next layer is we go out into the, let's say the star community, the brothers and sisters, the galactic community. And, you can go on multidimensional dates, and you don't have to just date on Earth. That's open to you. But you get what I'm saying? That's the physical, that started very physical. And I wonder now, are we taking that physical through each layer now? Like, are we taking it out? Everything was brought in. Now we're taking it out. And Morgan and I have had a couple of experiences where we're like, I wonder if now it's going to start with the physical out. Everything.
It's fascinating. Like, even on the level of the physical, I don't know if you've noticed this, but over the last few weeks, I just felt this real, like, I don't have that earthing. So I need to really get on the earth. Otherwise I can really playing the fire and the air and the water, I found that my body it feels like there's a lot of density coming through right now, density of the bodysuit. And I've just been really, really drawn to getting in and like shifting that, and a lot of body work, like a lot of touch, a lot of movement, a lot of grounding in to assist with these really, really high frequency energy. It feels like we're not like lifting off.
Yeah,
we need to ground that shit.
Well, I mean, the thing is that the energy is so unexplainable. There's no way in a 3D visual that you could explain this. It's the multidimensionality has kicked in. I mean, to me, it almost feels like first half, second half. Like the second half is starting. Like the first half is completing. Which in this duality, what is the most basic polarity, masculine, feminine? So is it the feminine fully coming in? You see a lot of women, you know, putting it out there now. A lot of women that have been doing this for a long time, even that are stepping up. We had two beautiful sisters step up last night, and I told Morgan after the show, how many of them is there? They're just got to be in droves. But like, say that's what's occurred. And I'm not saying that's what's occurred, but this is just how I feel. Maybe now, maybe it's going to be that masculine energy in the collective, the true one. You know, the true one. I mean, who knows? But to your point, yeah, it's been like purge, merge, merge.
Purge, merge. I love that.
Purge and merge. When in doubt, just merge, no matter what it is, no matter what that energy looks like, right? I mean, really, if you think about it, ultimately, that would have to be the, you know, what, oneness, unity consciousness, if you could visualize it.
The purge, the merge. I like what Morgan puts with she says, zero pointing. The zero pointing. Yeah, we're in that really. It is a powerful time. It's very intense for people that have never done the work and have never really started. And it's still really intense anyway. And it's very quick, like the shift and the turnaround of when you see your shadow aspects playing out and you see all the reflective mirrors playing out. You can really shift it a lot quicker and a lot smoother. That's what feels really good. It's not like taking like days or weeks.
No, but it can be very intense.
Very quick.
Yeah, you brought up last week, and mine was about 2.5, maybe even 3 full days, and it was. I mean, I'll be, I guess, gaining from that, or realizing things from that 2 or 3 days, which had to be collective. I mean, there had to be that, give or take a day or two, whatever. But I mean, there was just this level of, I think she just, what did you say a minute ago? Purge, merge, and she put surge. Morgan put surge. But that's what it is. It's like this surge is just, it's not like up and down. It's a different kind of thing. It's like you go like, June, take off, and then you dip and then take off. But it seems like we're able to do some pretty deep work now.
Mm-hmm. It feels like this. It feels like there's been a shift. It's like this being eased forward. It feels like there's a hand behind me, like there's a force behind me. Whereas before I used to always be focusing on the front to lead from there. I flipped it to feeling more into the back of the body. I know it sounds really weird. And then I just feel this surging forward, like this hand behind me, like this. And then really in that allowing, and that's what I feel as like that feminine, the masculine, all merging into one, and that it's potent. I have no idea what's happening. I forget what day it is. Like even here as I'm sitting, I'm feeling like I'm here. I'm feeling like I'm sitting in your studio and I'm somewhere over there.
Yeah. It's very true. That's very true. To me, every day, I mean, some of this is conscious, me trying to engage it, but I don't know if I can even say that now, but to me, it feels like more and more every day, at least moments during the day, it feels like a dimensional experience. The energy around me feels more dream state. And I do fade in and out, and it's amazing because you can watch yourself. It's like you're split, but you're not. It's like you're split and you're able to see the human, yet from that information, you're able to operate from the human, but it's very new, and you can see yourself back and forth. I don't know how else to put that, but I mean, it's not like a fight, but it's nice to be able to have, what am I trying to say? Like to have, like say an epiphany or an awareness come in, be able to handle what comes in. What was it? The purge for the merge, or the merge to the purge, and then the surge. It's nice to be able to look at that and go, wow, we're actually making some progress here.
It's massive. It's huge leaps. It feels like huge leaps. And in the last 2 days, even yesterday, it really hit me yesterday. There was something about the sky. I was just drawn to the clouds all day. You know, I find the clouds like give so much information, and then by the afternoon, it looks surreal. It looks surreal here in Sydney. And then I saw other friends had posted these pictures, and they were like, "Can you feel it? Can you feel it?" And it was walking. It was like walking in a dream, and it was different again. And there was this real innocence and lightness. And I was walking along, and I just felt this feeling of deep inner peace and love, and I felt drunk on the experience of existence, the experience of love, whatever that was. It just it wasn't attached to anything or anything. I just felt this immense, I couldn't even describe it, and I was just walking along just like grinning and bouncing, and looking at everyone else, and they sort of, and then they're tapping off on that as well, and it's super, super fast, and yeah, I feel
a lot of clicks. We were talking about that last night. Click as in next, you know.
Yeah.
Have you had? I was talking to my friend earlier today, and talking about what you're talking about, almost like that's what the other side feels like. And it lasts a little bit longer, and then you would go back into that cycle that we were talking about. But have you had like that level of intensity where you're kind of questioning your whole trip, like even your intel, like even everything that's ever happened to you, like everything just gets blown up, kind of thing, where you question everything and anything?
I think questioning everything is a good place to be. You need to be critical. You need to be able to. You mean like the things that have happened to me, or?
Yeah, I mean like divine episodes, channelings, communions, connections. You know, like where, I don't know. For me, like it was something like, say, 2 weeks ago, the guidance, you know, is always coming in, but then it comes in, and I'm like, wait a minute, we need to talk about this. And then I start to have this conversation, and I guess that's what it is. It's questioning, but yeah, maybe it's taking it to a deeper level than just say another human being or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know shit. That's the whole point.
I tend to have a lot of conversations with myself. I'm communicating with everything around me. Like, to the point, this sounds a little bit fucking crazy, but I don't care. Like, just really that shift of everything is a living being. So I started communicating to even the cockroaches. So I was like, holy shit, they also have a message for you, Zoe. Why are you getting really pissed about them? Like, have a conversation with them. So I started having a conversation with them. So they've been quite nefarious and invasive before then. And I was going, yo, how you doing? Like, oh, you're looking beautiful today, brother. And then all of a sudden they started calming down, and they weren't getting in my way. They'd see me, they'd sort of like acknowledge, and then they'd run off. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, I told my kids, and they were like, you're fucking crazy. And I was like, yeah, we know that. And I was like, don't be mean to them. See what happens. Be nice to them. So I don't know, I'm feeling like more of a symbiotic flow in everything. Yeah, I'm talking to energies, and I'm questioning different energies that come in, because you know what it's like when you're opening up and you're open, you don't want to be, I said to someone the other day, you don't want to be a cosmic slut, that you're completely open to everything. You have to discern what feels good, what doesn't feel good, right?
Yeah. Somebody just summed up, I've seen a lot of this energy. I can't really, where is it? Oh, I spoke too soon. The Anubis Initiation was just starting. It's definitely happening in the collective. Lots of laugh. Brutal, but finally made it through after 6 days. That one last week seemed to last about 6 or 7 days, whatever the hell that was. And I fully expect that we're going to have another one coming in. So I'm going to try to be not like, paranoid or apprehensive, but just try to apply what I've gotten and be aware as I can in the moment.
It just I feel it's that extra upload frequency of energy that we're getting. It felt like being on a ship. It felt like seasickness, motion sickness.
Yeah.
And this remembrance, it doesn't matter what's coming in, just get back to basics, back to basics, mind, body, spirit. That's it.
Yeah, that's right.
And allowing, so when you have cancellations or people don't book in, you have all this beautiful free space. It's like, cool, that's what I'm meant to be doing. This is my work.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's a different vibe, and there's a lot of different parts of it, like flow and like acceptance and like personal responsibility. Like, say, like that happens, something doesn't come through, you're just given a different experience, basically. So there's all these different things that are happening that are part of our lives that are not there anymore, or they're leaving, like expectations, the need to be right, true presence, connection come through, things like that. I mean, it's a beautiful tapestry of multidimensional, universally seated experience, and it's quite an honor to be here, on Earth. It really is. It really is. But
just gone.
I know. I'm telling you, it's like, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's getting used to multidimensionality too, because it's like you can be over here and be pulling from the stream, and then you're over here, and then the whole time you're coming back to being human. I know. I mean, for 10 days, I think half of those days would be in that period you were talking about last week. I did not want to go on. I did not want to be here. And I don't even know what happened. I was all over the place. But I know that was important for some reason for me, not for anyone else. That's how I rationalized it at first. But it's just like you become more and more conscious of your presence, of you. And it's just almost like a search, I guess. You discover things, you put things to rest, and you go into the next one, like you were talking about.
It does feel like we're being given this space and this invitation to play more and to really work with all the elements that are around us, and completely of the way that we used to do things. Allowing more in that allowing of things coming to us, and trusting in that pause, that almost that lull between the waves, and like letting go of the attachments to how things should be or that. And right. And it feels I don't know, it's been really interesting, this whole journey with my two boys as well. And the more and more I've let go and just been in that space of them doing themselves and me doing me, we all align in this beautiful time. So when we do come together, we have this really intense, beautiful 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it doesn't matter. And then it's like, yo, okay, bye. So they're then doing them, I'm doing me. So I feel like I've had this beautiful space open up for doing this work.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I guess there's some type of representation in the physical of everybody is their own space, right? Mm-hmm. Like sovereignty is this is my space, and we're all equal. And then you get into the whole thing about being able to feel into a consciousness or an energy. But that's a field that is 0 point. That is a field of no infringement, the no violation. It's pure. It is oneness, but we're not there. But we're getting glimpses. And we're having different things happen in different ways that are coming online steadily, and at the same time, it's moving faster. It just moves faster and faster.
Well, we have the free will to keep choosing moment to moment. And then our free will creates the waves of the lessons that come to us.
Yeah.
And the more and more we can honor others' free will, whatever they're doing, then it's like we're becoming lighter. That's what I feel. We're becoming lighter rather than this holding on to everything or feeling that we have to be responsible for someone outside of ourselves, knowing that when we're responsible for ourselves and in that the way that we're showing up in our action and the way that we're being without having to force that on another, simply just owning our own shit storm, owning our own.
There you go. That's it. That's it right
and then they see
That's
that.
Let's own our shit and meet you in the middle. You know, all of us.
Kids are a beautiful reflection for that, because if you're talking shit and you're out of alignment, they'll say it as it is, and that's really beautiful.
Thank God I don't have any of my kids with me. I wouldn't need a daily reminder how I'm popping into 3D. You know, but it's you know, a lot of people are in solitude now, isolation, defining their space.
Good.
I thought I'd be back out on the land coming out of Sedona with all that supercharge. I didn't know it was just, you know, a prerequisite to being knocked on my ass and integrating and going into whatever's been happening the last few weeks, which is happening in so many different ways to different people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all awesome. It's like, it's super fantastic, as in mind blown.
Solitude is a good thing. It's like, you know, those that weren't sent to the naughty corner and have some time out, you know, they've been given a gift.
Well, how can you discover, you know, even like, what is your space? What is your essence? What is your field?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've had we're talking zillions of points of context thrown into our field of distortion, and we've worked our way out of it. I mean, it's good work.
It is. Even the distortions as well, though, it's like seeing they're all playing a role. It's playing a role to assist you to push off. It's like, you know, when you are sent into the crazy eight, that's how we learn, right? Through the infinity. And then we get pushed so far one way. Same with the brain. If we're being so much one way and we're all being like hairy-fairy and up in the clouds and just believing everything that we're told and regurgitating, there's a lot of that, without having any, without being self-directing or being the author of self to question and to have that critical thinking, then we'll get slammed into that corner, into that other side of polarity, and then from that we get to push off it and have that divine contrast.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel people are doing. It's like being in a mosh pit or a swimming pool. And it's like, you know, own your wave, own your line. So then the more interference you're butting into what other people are doing, if you know, thinking what they're doing, then you're getting caught up in their waves, and then you end up getting a little bit drowned by their own karmic mess. It's like, just get the fuck back in your lane.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You've lost the line.
It's like a demolition derby. Well, and there's so many things that it's brought up different dynamics and so many different, you know, new kind of dynamics to just the way we communicate and connect and just the way we, you know, operate our life every day, every single thing we do. You know, and one of those to me is like watching this dance, because it's all a dance, like between intellect and intelligence. You know, intellect to me is very much a step one, step two, logic, rationale, very straight line-ish, right? And intelligence is obviously a main line, but I mean, it's got so much to it, and everybody's is coming on more and more and more. Mm-hmm. And if there's anything I think that I'm still, you know, trying to learn is you throw nothing away. There's got to be something, even like with the ego, there's got to be there's two sides to all of it. And you mentioned the lightness a while ago, and maybe it's just getting to those points where we realize how light the heavy was. I mean, nothing really is removed that was there in the first place. We put it there like the big boulder on our back, right?
We enjoyed having it there. It was some sort of entitlement, or, you know, from our not knowing, gave us some sort of recognition, that remembrance.
Yeah.
It is that knowledge, is that true inner intelligence is through having direct experience. That's what life is. We came here to have experiences so we could have lessons and remembering. And it feels like even things that were being said that we may have said, like, I don't know, many, many years ago, and then now it's becoming clearer and clearer and more simplified and simplified. That's what it feels like. It's becoming a lot how we complicated everything, but we needed to complicate it to really understand it, to then have that direct experience, to then integrate the knowledge. So then it became that intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And inner wisdom.
Well, the wisdom is I've always felt that the wisdom was knowledge plus action. And that seems to be, you know, people talk about embodying, but they're really, and you would think after all the magical stuff that's been shown to so many people that it would actually come that way, but it actually comes through the human being, body, mind, and soul, you know, in this part of it being on point. Mm-hmm. And actually, you know, stepping into fully into their guidance, their power, their magic. And really, a lot of people, I think, have been doing it for a long, long time. A lot longer than, say, even before 2012. Mm-hmm. But there seems to be a growing confidence. One of the ladies that came on last night used that word. She said, and also exemplified it, that she's confident in her guidance, and she's, no matter what it looks like, you know, at the human level, it makes no sense, but she's confident, and you could see it in her eyes.
Mm-hmm. That deep inner knowing. It's when it shifts beyond belief into that deep inner knowing of that absolute knowing and trusting. It's that whole trust and faith.
Yeah.
Which is what we're all eased through from the challenges that we have, so we can have these initiations, so we can strengthen to keep going into what we don't know and what we don't understand. It's exciting.
Do you feel like, I mean, I know conceptually we could say it's been the whole Earth mission is, but do you feel, and I don't want to ask a leading question, so don't,
you can ask anything.
I mean, like, has there been this intensity that you were talking about that came last week and certainly the weeks prior leading up to it? Does it feel like almost like a boot camp training, like like we're being prepared, or I don't know if that even makes sense.
My whole life felt like boot camp training.
What's that?
My whole life has felt like boot camp.
Yeah, that's why I said, I guess, yeah, we could actually look at it that way. Yeah.
So it didn't feel like an intense, like I felt the energy shift, but it wasn't an energy shift it was just more just allowing it of going, oh, okay, that obviously needs to clear out. Allowing whatever needed to happen. I was actually highly productive last week. So I was just like really in creative expression in my own little, doing what I needed to do so I could create and refine. So it felt, I don't know, it is like a boot camp, but it's felt more and more like a boot camp since 2011, since really shining the light on.
Yeah.
Every day. So it has felt like a boot camp. It feels like more play now. It feels like I'm playing. Like I forget what day it is. I have to book things in so I know what's happening, but I'm not being unproductive. I'm actually being very, very creative.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what we do, right? Is share our creative expression, however that is for our expression, from our experiences, from what we've integrated until it becomes that creative expression of simply being able to rock up and show up.
Yeah. Yeah. Creative as coming from creation. Yeah. And if you're able, I was telling Morgan like last night, so it's been what, six weeks since I got back from Sedona, 5 weeks, and was the first time I really feel like I got to work. Like I could feel that creative that you're talking about, but I haven't been able to do it until last night. I mean, I'm just getting back into it, like refamiliarizing myself just with the whole energy of creativity. I haven't done it in a while. Not in the way that we're talking about, but yeah, I mean, but for me, it's been, I haven't been able to. I've been, I guess, in integration for the last few weeks, like a deep integration, a lot of, I guess, work, purging, the merging, the surging, the puking, the crying, the laughing.
The body.
Yeah. Laying on the couch, looking at the ceiling, but there's all this other stuff going on.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of stuff going on. I notice how I can sometimes, I'll dip my toe into a little bit and then I'll play, and then I'll be like, ooh, what am I doing? Get back on track.
Yeah. And every time you get back on track, well, no, that's not true. I think that's a
it's not
really,
getting back on track. It's just coming back into what my intention is, setting my intention, getting really clear on my intention each day. That's the only thing. What's my intention? And then allowing what comes through and for that.
Yeah. That feels right. Yeah, because there's not as much of that. Oh, I know it. I know this. I know what's going on. I'm good.
I don't know. That's like such a powerful exercise. I remember doing that like years ago and just walking around just going, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I did it for 2 days. And I was like laughing, almost delirious to myself. And it was like, it was powerful to do, to let go of that. I know, I'm being stuck, of not going beyond that.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of laughing inside, because it's like, those moments, I'm sure it just happened to me. I'm sure I had I know it moment. Then I got a reminder of what I didn't know. There's a tremendous amount of humility that's coming with these energies, but it's not coming for free. But I mean, it's It is that. It is in, like being moment to moment, and people talk about being present. It's like I really don't know. Like I really don't know anything. I mean, and then when you really hit that space, which is, I'm going to say for me, not easy to do and maintain, but when you do, it is intuitive and natural and synchronistic, and you hit those moments of, of creativity, and the ability to express, even in just your normal functions of life, your energy in that place, and you can see the effects. But I guess we're being trained, or maybe we're getting better, or mastering the ability to be a human in this new environment.
Yeah, it's definitely a timeline shift.
Yes, Tim, it's more than one.
Yeah, it's like multiple timelines.
Right? It's like massive. You get a massive one every now and then, but there's all these constant flow of at least timelines being presented, or the byproduct of that information. And then, of course, interacting with people. Like I've noticed, like in Soulogy Fest, the whole communication, the whole field of communication, the whole playground was different. And I just kind of knew, like, oh, this is just a little example of what we're all stepping into. But even through those weeks since then, even in the scatteredness and the ups and the downs, so to speak, there's still this growing field of this growing field of where we create from, that's growing, because there's more and more people coming with the same frequency, which is amazing.
Have you felt really drawn to being really silent? How have you felt with interviewing? Like I've just no words, and not even just I'm like, even now it's like everything is.
That's why I'm shaking my head. That's why I'm
communicating.
Well, yeah, because 5 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago, 12 minutes ago, I'm sitting here going, how in the hell am I going to be able to do this? If you see me closing my eyes, I'm going back to that space you're talking about, like going back and having to do it, I mean, and it's nothing about the person I'm talking to. It's nothing about, it's just this, God, how would you describe it? It's not up and down. It's not imbalance, although I guess you could say that. It's this kind of 3D, 5D, 3D, 5D. And it's not just in your own space. It's in your environment. It's all over the place. It's like that space between, I guess, metaphorically 3D and 5D. So there's all this stuff going on. It's not one way or the other. And then, of course, you're a human trying to expand. Everybody is making that the priority, and then you have to function. And you don't know what day it is. You go to the store and it's like a big saga. It's like a big event just to go up to the store and buy a loaf of bread or whatever. Flux, that's the word, flux. Yeah. Nicole gone.
Pieces in. I live with my earphones in when I go outside. I'll smile at people and I'll be listening to music with my earpieces. Because then I can't hear them if they ask me to put a mask on. I can just go off and I just go in there in my own little thing and no one bothers me.
Yeah.
Be invisible. The other thing is as well, you were saying about not with the words and everything shifting so quick. I find with the vision as well.
Yeah.
Like now my vision's gone really, and I'll often walk around and I notice my face will change, almost like morph throughout the day. I can see it in my eyes. I can see it in my whole bodysuit. It's like morphing throughout the day. It's insane. And then I'm seeing it with people as well. I'll sometimes be looking at them and the face is like shifting or morphing. It's like, yeah, I feel like I'm tripping or something right now. Or that's really good shit.
Yeah, it's that. Yes, I agree with you. That's why I was talking about, like, with the it feels more and more like a dimensional experience, including, from our perspective, like, an aberration or an anomaly or a glitch. Yeah, I totally get that. And again, and the thing about being quieter, okay? I mean, it's okay. Like, for me, it's like, okay, how, and I realize I do this show, but it's like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. It's like when I go out, I feel like I enjoy the experience as the observer, but don't talk to me. Like when I'm going to the grocery store and I'll check out and the lady says, like, whatever, just a greeting, it like jolts me. like it makes me feel, I don't know. And whatever that means, but
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
So let me ask you as an example, because like like your energy is like, it's there. And that's another thing too. Like you were saying, I like even right now, not wanting to be here or not wanting to talk or whatever the case is. Like this is not the energy of, I know what's going on and da 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 da, and I'm just right. But like you're in a country where you're in what, Sydney? Where you at? Okay, so you're in a country that's had a lot of lockdown. So you've had a lot of physicalization of the distortion, let's say for a year and a half. Like I'm sure when it first started, you must at some point, I would imagine anybody would get some kind of charge out of it. Like, that in itself would be a big kind of indoctrination or an initiation, right? Is there a difference for you from when that all started to now? Do you feel a difference?
Nothing changed for me. I was welcome to my world. Like I love having time by myself and being in my creative little bubble, and then I go out into the hood and I'll connect and I'll grab my coffee and I'll say hello. So nothing really. I don't know, that sounds crazy. No. If anything, I got initiated into my work dropping off, which was fascinating, considering I was like, holy shit, these people actually need to do some healing and address their fear. And then in that there was a deep level of deeper trust that needed to come through, and faith for me of another initiation. So it was more on that. As for what was going on out there, our community is really amazing. A few weeks before it did happen, I went around to the restaurants and said to them, you're going to need to adapt, start changing. Coffee shops, I said, why don't you do takeaways? Just suggested it to a few, and then obviously other people were doing the same thing, and then everyone adapted. So in the community here, I've not really noticed anything. I'm like, why am I here? I'm like, I'm here to basically be a spark and just be myself in the community, and that's it. Yeah. And if anything, I've supported businesses in my community, and I haven't been supported in the community. So that's been really fascinating. And you talked about humility earlier, and really catching shadow of arrogance of, well, whoa, why aren't people, and going into a deeper level of humility.
Yeah. Practice.
So that, yeah. And I mean, the things that I notice a lot of people starting to really take a step back on their life and make those changes, which was great to see. And again, there was the little me inside going, hang on a minute here, I have the tools, I can teach you, I can guide you. And there's still this resistance with people because they're so much in fear. And I'm seeing that, and I'm also seeing there's a tipping point that it's going to get so intense for them. The only thing that they're going to go is, okay, now I'm ready. Now I'm ready to do some work. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that last part too. Yeah, like the other people, like people in this, I'm not making fun of anybody, but like a lot of people say the term not awake or whatever. I think there's a lot more people awake than we think. I was looking at, so what, y'all had some type of extension or expansion or both of your restrictions that I think went into effect at midnight, right? This past, okay. But
well, you know more than me. Like, I don't watch the news. My kids tell me what's happening. Like, well, I'm like,
right? That's really actually that's actually a really good idea, to be honest with you. I mean, in my opinion, I don't do it, but I notice myself looking at less and less and less just because it just doesn't compute. But what I saw last night was Morgan sent me a video. Now, I guess the announcement was made, and within a few hours, because I guess there was some kind of organized march. I think it was arranged, like I want to say the 24th.
24th of June it is.
Of July. And so what happened was, I guess they announced yesterday that there was going to be an expansion or extension or both of whatever the restrictions are. And I saw a video of all these people marching peacefully before midnight to comply, because I guess at midnight they wouldn't be allowed to be out. Maybe there's a curfew. I don't know.
That was last night.
Yeah, it was last night, and it looked like it was probably, I would say, probably downtown Sydney. And so the camera was facing like the direction they were walking, and you could see what looked to me like maybe 100, 200 people. I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. But then it turned around, and it was, I'm talking like there had to be at least 1,000 people. Like, so with that second part that you mentioned is what I find really interesting. Like the, it was in Melbourne. She just told me it was Melbourne. But yeah, sorry about that. But that part of it, like,
I'm not in the cool crew. I obviously, don't have my finger on.
Oh, you would have been there, right? You would have been there.
Yeah.
But but like the impact energetically of people doing that. Now, are those people light workers? Are those people star seeds? They're human beings. They're marching in sovereignty peacefully. They're complying with the law, which says at midnight you can't be here. I think that's how it went, because I think that's what I understood. But it's just the spirit of that. What's the term you used a minute ago? That perspective, that higher perspective, are actually acting based on what things are and not your reaction to it, kind of thing. The new energy, which I think those people exemplify.
Yeah, I think people are really seeing the ramifications now, and they're questioning because they're seeing how ridiculous all the different, there's this and then there's that, and they're starting to see there's no consistency. That's the thing with the governing people, the body of the governing people of the system. There's been no consistency, so they're constantly chopping and changing their minds, so they don't know what they're doing. And I really feel people in the community and society are now starting to question and go, oh, well, that doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem consistent, so they're losing faith.
Yeah,
which is a good thing.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's also indicative of the entire world. In other words, it's all these mixed signals, and you're just looking at it going, well, at a minimum, something's not right. It's almost like, I don't know, maybe that's what pulls the fear up. Maybe that's the energy. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. There's a.
And because it's now on people's doorsteps. I think people, when it's not on their doorstep, unless you've had direct experiences of having your freedom taken away, you've had direct experiences of suffering. That's why those of us have had those real contrasts. They're here making a lot of, we're walking that path, I feel, because people are now feeling that, and they're feeling that pain. And they're feeling the aspects of their freedom being taken away. And now they're starting to see that they do need to be a change, that they do need to step up peacefully. I'll say that peacefully, because it does need to be peacefully. And I find, we've gone past that time of the evangelist. Like, that's a whole phase, isn't it? when you first get the information, then you become the mouthpiece and the evangelist. It's like it's not always the way that creates massive impact. And I found the less I've let go of that whole evangelist, having to, and it's a dance. I found without pushing things down people's throats and just being in that place of what you're choosing in your sovereignty, people are then starting to feel that they can approach you. You're more open, you're more. So then I bumped into a friend the other day, and he's like, like he was very much for having the jab and everything. And, and we have these really good conversations and being able to still see the humanness in one another and not really caring what his choices were, seeing that was a part of what he wanted to choose and whatever. And that was none of my business. And to still maintain that level of dignity and respect and love for this human being. And I bumped into him, and then he said, he had the jab, and he went, I'm questioning if I want to have the other one. And I said, well, if you want to chat, then we can chat. And it was really not, you have to do it this way, because when you do that to people, then they're going to do the opposite things.
Of course.
So I think the more and more we can stay open and really hold that peaceful stance of having that door open, so when people are ready to knock on the door, they are ready to step through it, they're more likely. And that may mean people experiencing more suffering. That's why we change, right? That's how we change, is from, again, coming back to that pleasure, pain, having such immense pain that we see that we actually have to take responsibility and make a change.
Yep, that's right. It's time. It's time to get it done.
It's time to get it done. And as well, like letting go of, we are in this really powerful time, when it comes into the whole unity of seeing those people in our lives that we love dearly that have totally different views to us. And, our role is to experience unconditional love, which means with no conditions, and to have compassion, which means being able to love someone and be with them in their time of journey of suffering without having to fix or change it.
Yeah, it's a universal mouthful, that's for sure. It's a multidimensional, rapidly expanding, and each facet of your experience is multidimensional. It's like everything's just exploding, right? But then, like, I think it was you, like there's this knowing, this inevitability of the eternal. Really, I mean, it's weird because the more aware, I guess, we become, it's just the same old equation. The more identities we give up. Identities can be not just things on a personal level, but those things in the social structure, such as customs, such as institutions. I mean, this is like the deluge. This is like the great flood without the physicality. It's an energetic, etch-a-sketch.
Being put into a sieve. It's like sediment can be caught, and sediment can be put back into the water to do a little bit more attrition, to break it up a little bit more. It's like the wheat from what came through yesterday. It was like separating the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah, that's in the Bible, I think. I've heard people say that. Well, I'm getting my normal daily hot
ding,
flash.
ding.
Yeah. Lots of tones, lots of hot flashes, lots of purging. God, people are talking about just so many different things, but everything's pointing towards transformation. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you again. My new profile. Absolutely, that was a good thing. Non-attachment, non-attachment.
Oh, was that what happened? Because I went to send you a message, and yeah, you have a new profile.
Yeah, no, it was a initiation. It was a lesson for me in business. Rather, you know, someone hacked my, did me a favor and taught me a few lessons, like hacked my business and took over my business page as a dog page. And at first I was like, oh, is that like dodgy shit, like to do with dog? Like,
Oh, you're talking about Dogecoin? Dogecoin?
yeah, no, it was to do with, they started selling dog apparel on my business page. Anyway, yeah, luckily I was blessed, and my bank balance was zeros. But yeah, they started to run some big account. Yeah, they were running out some big campaigns, like up to what it would have been like lifetime accounts of 10,000 a week. Yeah, so it was a beautiful lesson. It was a beautiful lesson of, you know what, Zoe, you know your business, have your finger on the pulse. You're not looking behind the scenes. You need to clear this out. Maybe it's time to completely eliminate this account. So yeah, after to and from communication, it was like, you know what, 5,000, it doesn't matter. Like, why have I got an attachment to that? Let it go, clean the slate, clean the slate. And I was like, okay, now I'll just create a new account and just start fresh from a blank slate. Whoever needs to be there will be there. And there's obviously another reason why it just needed to go. So yeah, good lessons.
Yep, that's right.
Know your business, know what's happening behind the scenes, and don't be lazy and complacent with the stuff that you need to keep your finger on the pulse.
Yeah, yeah, and stay in your own lane.
Stay in your own lane, and time to clear out.
Stay in your own lane, because
yeah,
it's not even about being a sticky nose. It's just about you need every bit of your wherewithal possible to have as much ease and grace as possible.
Yeah,
it isn't, and it really isn't suffering. It's just, I think it's like, to me, like being a responsible co-creator, because you start to understand that it's all coming from you, right? I mean, I wouldn't even been able to consider that 10 years ago.
No,
I would have thought, I'm a soul, I can do anything's possible for me, but to then add up all the souls and see what we're actually doing, which is coming from within ourselves, is pretty amazing. Until the next time, I'm going to go take a cold shower. I'm going through a hot flash, or menopause, or manopause, or whatever you call it. See you guys tomorrow. Jason Estes and Franco Di Nicola. And awesome. This is my friend Z. We're signing out. Wishing everybody a happy rest of the day or the rest of the evening. Take it easy, Zoe. Thank you.
You too, man. Big love.
All right. Big love to you.